Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of the Diamond Diaries, a podcast about women in baseball, hosted by a woman in baseball, yours truly, Chelsea Raymer. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on the Diamond Diaries podcast. You're the first female baseball player I've ever interviewed or spoken to, so I'm super excited. I'm super inspired by everything that's going on. So thank you much for hopping on. And just kind of to start, can you tell me a little bit about where you're from and then when your passion for baseball started?
Yeah, well, I'm from Livermore, which is the East Bay area, and the Giants were in the 2010 World Series. And my parents weren't big baseball people, but because we had a local team on, they turned on the TV. And, well, as I like to say, they said that they never seen a kid with ADHD sit still for that long. So, and I was soon like, Mom, I want to play Little League and or I want to play baseball. And they found an opportunity for me to play baseball. And luckily, I grew up in a very baseball rich area. So I was able to play. And softball was never really an interest of mine. I played on guys' teams all the way going up through high school. And then I thought, okay, I might as well give softball a shot. So I did. I played for 3 years in high school, had fun, but I'm a pitcher. So the the mound kept calling me back to the sport that I grew up. And so then I came to Cal Poly, because that's where I felt was best for me academically. And I started a club team, a women's baseball club team there. And we have been playing. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So kind of going back to, you mentioned you started playing when you were younger on a little league team with all boys. When you were able to, when your parents found that opportunity for you, what were your teammates' reactions like? What did all the boys think?
Well, at the younger levels, no one cared.
Mhm.
Um, but as you start getting a little older, it was, when are you going to switch to softball? And then once you got a little bit older, the guys started throwing harder to test you. And once you were kind of in the click, then you were, and then they had your back because they knew that you could play. But playing new teams, there would be chatter from the dugout, uh, joining a new team. Yeah, it was always, if there was a double standard in the sense if one guy makes an error, brush it off, get the next one. If I make an error, the spotlight was really shined on me and accentuated every little thing that I did.
Yeah, so as
So
you got older, what was it like kind of playing with that extra pressure?
it was definitely very draining. That was one reason why I tried softball because I was like, I'm tired of sticking out. I'm tired of being like the only female. It's exhausting. And I know some women that play baseball love it and get along with the guys well. And some teams I did. I had great teams where if I could have stayed on that team for years, but people move their separate ways. And then there was some teams that I was on that were not so good. But I love the community of all women's sports. But still, there's a fun aspect of playing with the guys. You can kind of bro out a little bit, and it's definitely a different environment.
I know you mentioned you heard like chirping from the other dugouts from the other teams. Were there any times where it was even like parents or opposing teams, coaches that were like, "Hey, what's going on?" and kind of protested it?
Oh yeah, that
Mhm.
was uh the players would chirp too, but they were just there to play. That they were more focused on themselves. Uh, it was a lot of it was from coaches and parents,
Yeah.
but you just kind of you hear it all, and you learn that that's their issue, not a reflection of me.
Yeah. And so what was the biggest thing you took away from that experience, of playing with all boys for so long?
Well, I guess I learned a lot of good work ethic, um, and how to just kind of put my head down. And another thing too is like if I wanted to work in baseball, I know that there's a lot more females in the front office now, but still a very male dominated space. Getting the learning young how to work well with men and how they see the game. And yeah, I guess just being able to see all perspectives, because obviously I come at life from a female perspective, so being able to see the other side of things and uh, understand both sides.
Who was your biggest support system during that time growing up and playing on those teams?
My father, he didn't know baseball, but he learned right along with me and always came to my practices, drove me to games. Um, so that was a big, it was baseball was a big father-daughter activity for us. And still, when I come home, we go out and throw the ball around and I make him hit me fungos.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you have a baseball player you looked up to when you were growing up?
Yeah, so I was a big Giants fan. I was big fans of Buster Posey, Tim Lincecum, and Madison Bumgarner. Those were kind of my big three that I really liked. Hunter Pence as well. Just that whole 2010 to 2014 World Series teams. Um, there wasn't really many females playing. Like I heard of Isla Borders, but there wasn't much coverage on her, and that's when I got a little older. And then I know I think I was 11. So when Monet Davis played in the Little League World Series, and she is 2.5 years older than me, 3 years older. So it's not like there was a big age gap there. And then now we're playing together. So unfortunately, there wasn't like that many like Caitlin Clarks to look up to when I was young, female wise. But you still have idols. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome. It's funny. So I grew up in Texas, in the Dallas area, and I didn't grow up a Rangers fan. My dad made sure I was a Red Sox fan, but I do remember that like Giants Rangers World Series and like how devastated everyone was, which like I was kind of indifferent to it. I think I wanted San Francisco to win just because like everyone was rooting for the Rangers. So I was like, I'm gonna root for the Giants. So when you
oh,
mentioned that, it's like flooding all these memories back. I remember everyone like how the watch parties and everyone being excited, but then I remember the Giants because they swept them, right?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, that takes me back. So you are currently in school. I know you mentioned you chose Cal Poly because it fit you the best academically. So what are you currently studying?
Sports management. So I'm almost done with my degree.
Nice.
I am a Tinless Bispo. Um, the last thing I have to do is my internship credits, which that's why I'm up here in Sacramento. And um, then I'm gonna go back down and walk in June. It's sad because I love San Luis. I love all the people there. I've developed so many awesome connections. All my professors are amazing. But it's as cute and awesome of a town it is. There's not a big sports market and it's expensive. So
Mhm.
unfortunately, I wish I could call that my home base for a long time. But maybe when I retire.
Nice. So I know you mentioned too, you talked about how you put together the women's club baseball team. When did the idea for that start to form and kind of what was that process like of getting it established?
Well, I wanted to play baseball in college, and I think in 2022 was the first women's college baseball like championships. There was three teams, I think Montclair State, Occidental, and University of Washington. That was my graduation year of high school, was 22, and I saw that and was like, that's what I'm gonna do. If I uh, I'm not going to play softball in college. I'm going to find a good school for a little larger school, so I have a population to do so. Find a good school for me academically, and I'm gonna build that team. And that's where Cal Poly came in.
Nice. So how did you see the progression of the program? How many people did you start with, and then how did you kind of see it grow?
Well, we started with three, um, and freshman year, for me is I actually joined the rugby team, so I was pretty involved in tournaments and that sport. So maybe it probably slowed down the team a little bit, but I think that was pretty vital for me getting a community friends my freshman year. But started a lot with paperwork, finding an advisor, slowly developing marketing, merchandise and stuff, and then my sophomore year, we really hit the recruitment hard and we got a team together started practicing consistently, and went to nationals, and we took second place that year. And then we came back this year and went, or yeah, in 2025, and went to nationals again and took home the gold. So we're
Nice.
happy to do that.
That's so exciting. Was it a lot of women who were in a similar situation where they had grown up playing and they wanted to play, or were there a lot of people that joined where they had no experience but they were interested in trying the sport?
The whole spectrum.
Okay.
So there was some women that had played baseball, and then were unable to play again, and are pretty good. Like you can tell, like, oh yeah, you've competed with the guys. There are some women that played softball, also stopped playing because they didn't have opportunities or looking for a club team or something. Also amazing players. And then there's some people that have never touched a baseball or they've always wanted to, and being able to give those women that opportunity and say, hey, look, we have all skill levels here. We have people that play with guys. We have softball players. We have a bunch of knowledgeable players that have worked on their craft. Our advisor got drafted by the Florida Marlins in the 90s, and he played on the Cal Poly team, so he knows what he's talking about. And being able to put a bat in these girls' hands for the first time and watch them progress over the months and learn the ins and outs of the game and become more confident up at the plate. And I've seen a huge skill growth for people that when they as long if they come out twice a week, then and then come and lift or do do all our practices, then yeah, it's just awesome to see this new love for a sport be developed in these women in a sport that's especially at a collegiate level is very traditionally competitive.
Yeah. So how did it feel taking home the gold after, being there from the start? You started from scratch, you recruited everyone. How did that feel?
It was surreal. I remember driving back on the car ride with my friends like late at night, and we were like, wow. They're like, Arwen, you did this. And I was like, oh my God, like it sunk in that I was like, this is what I created. This is my baby. Like I brought all these women together, and we all got to have this amazing experience. And yeah, it was like surreal. It like sunk in that moment. And then I started getting more ideas for how I could improve next year.
Yeah. That's so fun. Do you guys have like an exec board or anything to run it, or is it kind of mostly just you, the founder?
Mainly me. Now that's my next biggest goal is now that I'm graduating is being able to transfer that leadership over, giving my advisor, like now that he kind of knows the way that I ran things, that he'd be able to run practices because he was like, okay, I'm all yours, just tell me what you need me to do. And passing some of that off to some of our juniors that have been around for a couple of years that can um oversee things, and um, I'll still be here. I'll send them practice plans, schedule tournaments, whatever. I don't mind like helping out, but of course I can't be there in person. So
Yeah. And then, so kind of shifting to the WPBL, I saw you went to the tryouts back in August. When did you decide that going to the tryout and registering and everything is something you wanted to pursue?
we did that as a team. Um, I think they announced all of this in May. So I said to our team, I'm like, hey guys, anyone that wants to try out for the WPBL, like here it is, like here's the video links. We got out, did practice, and we dedicated a couple practices to
Mhm.
just filming each other, getting content, and we all submitted our applications. Everyone got accepted because they wanted as many women as possible to come out for the tryouts. And uh financially and like time wise, there was a group of people on the team that like couldn't come or were doing internships. um Sorry. And so there was four of us that were able to go. So we just got a hotel room, shared all the Ubers. That made it actually easier financially. Um, but Yeah, we all went, and our tryouts were on 2 different days. The three of them were on day one, and I was the only one on day two. So that first day, I was out there hitting them fungos, playing catch with them, catching their bullpen, whatever that entailed. And that being said, I'm not a catcher, so I will squat down, and then if you throw a curveball at me, I will bail. Uh, but yeah, just out there supporting my teammates for the first day, buying them Gatorade, whatever I could do to make them successful. And then this second day that they did the same for me. So um, yeah, it was an awesome experience.
Was it a little bit easier on the nerves to go with teammates versus like by yourself at all? Do
Oh yeah,
you?
we can bounce off each other. You get nervous, throw jokes, like whatever that entails. Like go out to dinner, go out to lunch, whatever, with your team. And these people. It's not like you're going to. Now, I knew a lot of people trying out, but people came with others, or you didn't know generally where they were staying. It's when you're staying alone, it's a lot more I isolating, I guess. I don't know, but it was nice kind of having your, I don't want to necessarily say like a posse around you, your squad, that we all rolled in our Cal Poly gear, and we're like, all right, we're gonna slay this tryout. So
So I know you mentioned they were kind of on different days. What was the process like in general? Were there different rounds and everything?
yeah, so there was 2 days of the first round of tryouts, and they had a group like every 2 hours, hour and a half. I don't remember exactly how long, but you warmed up, then you did base running, and then they split up into groups. So then pitchers would go in the bullpen. They did infield, outfield work, and then after that, catchers would go and catch off the machine, and they'd calculate pop times. And then you had half the group in the cages, and the other half the group hitting live BP on the fields. And that was it for the day one. It was quick. You get a couple balls at each station. It was pretty traditional tryout. So then they just rotated through that however many times. And then that night cuts were sent out. So and I made those cuts. And then the day two tryouts was technically day three, but the like round two was simulation games. So they had multiple times. But there were two teams, and they put each player in in a position for like an inning, and then rotated out. So everyone got like two at bats. Everyone got to play 2-3 innings at different positions, give you a chance. So that was nice. I got to pitch, lead off pitching for the visiting team on that day, and then that night, cuts again were emailed out, and then if you made those cuts, you went back to the hotel, got draft photos, and then that meant you were eligible for the draft, and you were going to play in Nationals Park the next day. And so then I woke up the next day, and we went to Nationals Park and were able to play. That's where they give us these shirts instead of the black ones. And at that point, that was just a PR stunt, like getting the word out there, getting good photos. Everyone who played in those games were draft eligible. So there was no further cuts made based on that day. That was for the world to see what we're doing.
Okay, was it nerve-wracking when they would send out the cuts? Like it was something like you were really thinking about it all?
Oh yeah. Um, the first round of cuts, I think I was just like at dinner or something, and I got or no, the first round of cuts, I was falling asleep and opened my email. Um, Something like that. I don't remember that one as well. I was like I'm probably gonna make the first round. I hope. Uh, I was I was nervous, but like I was a little confident. I was like, okay, I play baseball. I'm gonna at least make the first round. The second round, I was like, ooh, fingers crossed. We went to a local sports bar, and we went to, I think it's called League of Their Own, which is
Hmm.
ironic, in DC. And we're just drinking a beer at the bar, my teammates and I, watching the Dodgers Padres game because it was still on a East or West Coast time. And that's where I got the email. So we celebrated.
Nice. So, because you survived those two rounds of cuts and you knew you were going home draft eligible, how did that feel? Like, would that make the ride home a little bit easier?
Yeah, yeah. I was so excited. The MC for the league, her name's CJ Silas. She is a radio host in San Luis, and we have gotten close over the past year, as she reached out to us to interview us, have us on the show, and we've just stayed in contact, and we've actually become really good friends. So we were texting each other the whole time, as she was like, my dream has been to announce like baseball professionally, and she saw this happen and was so excited to be a part of it that she volunteered her time to go out to DC. So she was out there, and I was texting her, I was like, CJ, I made the cuts, and she was like, oh my god, and I just got to meet and have a conversation with Ayami Sato. I'm like freaking out right now. And so we were both, it was awesome being able to like check in the night. We were so busy during the day, but just watch each other achieve our dreams. And
Oh, that's awesome. So now kind of getting to the draft. So I read you had a watch party. Who were you surrounded by at that watch party?
my Cal Poly teammates, my professor came, one guy from KSBY News, Dean Trainer, the coach of the San Luis Obispo Blues baseball, who I played with over the summer, and he is also a former pitching coach for the Florida Marlins, so he helped me train for the tryouts, and yeah, a lot of friends, and it was just awesome to be surrounded by like a support system than just sitting in your room watching the drafts, crossing your fingers.
Nice. When you get drafted, did you receive a phone call or anything beforehand, or was it just kind of the live stream going through and it was like a total surprise?
It was a surprise.
Okay.
I think they let, from what I've gathered, the top like 20 were let they told them what team they were going to be drafted on because they wanted them to submit a video and uh like give a little speech or something. But after that, I think that it was all surprise for everyone, and that's what makes they sent me the hats, and they said film and put on the hat that you get drafted to, and I was excited to film that, and they reposted it, and good social media content, and it was also just awesome to rewatch that experience that I felt in the moment.
Yeah, so you got drafted by your home city. How awesome did that feel?
I know. I just hope that I don't know how the contracts and everything are going to work. I know that they're going to be cutting down for the roster's 30 right now, and they're going to be cutting down to 15. But assuming that if I stay on that roster 15, I don't know, however many years, that I know the first year is going to be central in Springfield, but if they start playing locally, like at venues in each city, that's going to be awesome. But for yes, I love to represent San Francisco, wear the colors of the Bay Area. Regardless, I'm still playing in Springfield right
Yeah,
now.
that's true. I didn't think about
But
that.
yeah, of course, I would love to be able to have a home facility, and live nearby, and then just be able to travel. But the first year of the league, I get it, like travel costs. They're trying to keep their costs down and make it focus more on the media side.
Did you, when you did get drafted, did you get any maybe texts or like congratulations or anything from like the guys that you grew up playing with?
I don't know about the guys that I grew up playing with. A lot of like old friends. I posted on my Instagram, and I just got like flooded with comments and texts from people that from elementary school, high school, just in general that I grew up with. So that was an awesome experience that I was like, oh my God, I have so many people texting me right now. It was a bit overwhelming because I'm like, how am I going to respond to all these people? Um, Everyone's like, are you gonna have an after party? I had like finals or something. I don't remember what it was. I had something important the next day, so I think I went to bed at like 9 that night. Like after the draft party, I was like, all right, I'm out. I'm going to bed. I'm gonna like respond to like a handful of these texts and then I'm putting my phone down.
Oh, that's awesome. But so after the draft, you are still in school, and I saw you attended the MLB winter meetings. How was that?
It was very good. This was the first year that they had a co-ed, so that was interesting. I went back in 2023 when they hosted it in Nashville, and that was all women. Um, so that was a interesting difference. It was more it, 2 years ago. It was more centered on like the female experience within sports, and then now it was just more generally a general networking event on how to um, I guess, break into the industry, what it takes, what it looks like, giving you like a peek into their day to day, what they do, and just all of that. And you get to go through breakout groups, you get your resume looked at, you get to do a mock interview, they take professional headshots. So a lot, it's just a really a development program for you within the workspace.
Oh, nice. So what is your, so you have an internship right now. How do you kind of balance that with your training for the upcoming season?
Well, that's where I picked my internship is a baseball facility, a small one here in Sac. Gonna try and help it grow off the ground, do marketing, fundraising, help with uh just really promoting it to the public and being able to teach private lessons there. And I can train where I work. So I just come in a couple of hours early, hit, throw, whatever I need to do, and be able to be able to do all of that and not have to commute because if you're sitting at a desk job for X amount of hours a day that it's required to do an internship, then the last thing you want to do, you're like, oh, I know I gotta like all drive to the gym, I gotta go home, change, and
Mm.
it's a lot more of a production than if you just show up in your gym clothes and then do your workout and then roll right into your lesson or whatever that entails. So as a sports management major, I thought that that was a perfect opportunity that I could focus on a sports small business and really also nurture that dream of playing and making these cuts. So
Yeah. So you've obviously been a part of some super awesome history regardless. What advice would you give to all the little girls who want to be in your shoes one day?
find people around you that are supportive because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to tell you no and just keep your head down, keep working hard because all it takes is one yes and just just keep working hard and it's really what you do when no one's watching. Build yourself up, um put your all into what you do and be confident in it and know what you have, know your stuff. And when people chirp at you, especially if you're playing on a guy's team, be able to like let that roll off your back. And sometimes it hurts. So having those people next to you by your side, family, friends that can support your dream and that they got your back.
So for my final question, if you could go back in time and look at your 7-year-old self who had just joined a boys' little league team and say, hey, you were just drafted by the Women's Professional Baseball League, what do you think she would say?
She would be ecstatic. I used to play in my backyard and I had a made up town and a made up league in baseball and our little grass patch was my baseball field. I'd put out little like wiffle ball bases and hit the ball and narrate my own games. And I was like, I'm gonna play professionally someday. And um, I just uh, that was always my dream. So if I went back and told her that I am now, I think she would just be so proud and just that much more motivated to go out and keep going out to the field every day and keep working hard because she knows what's in store for her.
That's all the questions I have, unless you want to add any other words of wisdom or want to bring anything up.
No, I don't think so.
Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll chat again soon. XOXO, Chelsea.